funny. You do something in a year time span, like let's just say you lose 100 pounds, and you go out on social media, and in one picture, when you're vastly overweight, you post a picture in an LSU shirt, and then the next, within a year, when you lose it, and you come back out here and you're wearing an Ohio State shirt. People are like, oh my God, why are you wearing that Ohio State shirt? I could be petty and say that signals are always being sent. But maybe signals are always being sent. We are live. Nevertheless, Blaine Bradford does commit to Ohio State. We'll talk about that here tonight. As well as we got to get to the baseball series. I was not going to be doing a show at 2:30 in the morning for post games. We would just rather punt on that. Now, if it's a national championship, we will be there. I do promise you, if it's a certain situation, we will be there. But we'll break down Mississippi State. We'll break down that entire series. Blaine Bradford, as we mentioned, commits to Ohio State. Women's basketball, Samaya Smith enters the portal. And LSU is eliminated against UCLA in the Final Four. We'll talk on that as well. Oh, but by the way, I got to get to a rant here tonight too, because speaking of women's basketball, Stephen A. Smith, what are we doing? Bro, Kim Mulkey was asked a question yesterday in reference to, like, hey, you've been kind of lapsing these last couple of years. You only got back-to-back Elite Eights. And then Kim just fires back by saying, well, have you ever coached in a Final Four? Have you ever been to a Final Four? And then ESPN, look, I love Unc to death. I love Shannon Sharp to death. Shannon Sharp comes out. Stephen A. Smith comes out. She's very rude. I'm talking about Kim Mulkey when she claps back at a reporter. Bro, you let Saban do that shit for 2 decades. You let Bill Belichick do that shit for 2 decades. They did not win national titles every year. Now, Kim Mulkey has won multiple national titles. And she's won national titles at 2 different schools. And as a player, we can technically, say 3? Look, Kim is her own human being and personality that everybody continues to try to bring down in the mud. But today, Stephen A. Smith came out and talking about Kim Mulkey clapping back at a reporter saying, oh, well, she's just a very rude person. She always does this. She doesn't understand the job that the reporter has got to do. Brother, what right do you have to talk about Kim Mulkey when you were literally last week talking about that if LeBron James would have gotten physical with you in their altercation, that you would have thrown hands, even though you have a video out there of you sparring, looking like you're trying to pull a weed eater and trying to get What are you doing, bro? Your hairline is back in the middle of your head. You're bringing Republicans onto your show, on a national show, because you want clicks and you come after coaches. This guy, Stephen A. Smith, came out years ago and talked about different players being bona fide scrubs, and you're mad that a coach claps back at a reporter. This is why Stephen A. Smith, I love Unc to death. Unc, all of these dudes on ESPN included. It's why our podcast make the amount of money, and why I and all these other people have voices, because no one wants to listen to your shit anymore. Cool, you signed a $100 million deal. What is her being very rude to a reporter? Brother, you call players bona fide scrubs. And you're talking about being rude. You went past the line talking about LeBron James's son. Now, you can have your own opinion about LeBron. You can have your own opinion about his politics, or have your own opinion about him getting his son drafted. Guess what? All of us would have done that if that was our child. If you say that you wouldn't, you're a damn liar. Because if I was in LeBron James' shoes and that was my son in Ben Ruffino, he'd come and right along with me too. And ain't got a damn thing that y'all going to do about it either. Stop acting like you're different. But sometimes these reporters take shots. Hey, Kim Mulkey, the reporter says, you haven't been to Final Fours the last 2 years. You're kind of falling short. Well, shit, you ain't even been to one. You ain't even won a national title. You're a reporter, bro. Like, what gives a reporter a right to think that they can come out in a press conference saying you're falling short. If falling short for Kim Mulkey is making it to Elite Eights every year, sign me up. Sign me up. If I were Kim, I would have said, what school did you graduate from? What school did you graduate from? I told you a year ago, damn near to the day, tomorrow would be the day from a year ago, that look, the pettiness that comes behind women's basketball is on a whole nother level than any other sport. Any other sport. And it drives people away that want it to succeed. She's a very rude person. Bro, your hairline is literally in the middle of your head. Shave it. You literally think that you're more important than the players that you cover. You're not. If I quit the podcast today, if Stephen A. Smith quit today, ESPN doesn't stop. Sports won't stop. It is pure insanity. Look, I have my issues with ESPN. Number one, regardless of what side of the aisle they fall on, I still think that they're too political, way too political for a sports show. Number two, guys, they literally, on their morning shows on the Monday, when you had men's and women's basketball in March Madness, the finishes that you had, the torpedo bat, which, God, I could go in a whole 25-minute segment about the torpedo bat that made its way into Major League Baseball this year. It actually made its way into Major League Baseball last year. And by the way, Rafael Devers and Barstool Sports, I know that we all know that you're Boston fans. The dude's using a torpedo bat, and he's 0 for 16. Last year, the Yankees beat Milwaukee 2 out of the 3 games that they played, and one of those games, they scored 10 runs, and the other ones, they scored 15. But it's a torpedo bat. All these different things that you could talk about from a national perspective, and they led off with the NBA. They led off with the NBA. That tells me that you don't understand the common man. It preaches to me that you do not know the common man. Nobody in your right mind or their right mind is literally going to ESPN to want to talk about the NBA. No one. Guys, listen, I promise you this. They do audio podcasts, meaning ESPN. None of their shows on ESPN SEC Network, they're all put in audio podcast form. None of them rate in the top 100. None of them. Dan Lebitard is his own entity and his own deal. There's a reason why people don't listen to you. There's a reason why Stephen A. Smith went to politics and is talking politics, because no one's going there for the sports talk. No one. So yet again, we are put in a situation where we have to talk about the Kim Mulkey situation of her clapping back at a reporter. Bro, sorry, don't ask a dumbass question and you won't get your head bitten off. She just lost. She doesn't want to be your friend. She's not your friend, and she's going to tell you like it is. If y'all got a problem with that, grow a pair of balls. We have, for what it's worth, going on a little bit of a rant here, we have lost our godforsaken minds on us. Oh, well, we hurt his feelings. I mean, brother, Twitter, none of this shit is real. None of this social media shit is real when people get up close and personal to you. None. If there's one thing that this business has taught me, people talk shit on the internet and don't want to come. They can be mad at you. They can hate your ever-living guts. They ain't going to say shit to you in person. They don't have the balls to do it. Maybe you have a rare occurrence. God bless Jesus. Women's basketball, I got to be real, you have a problem. The problem is that every time that we turn around, there's pettiness around the corner. That is a fact. And if you want someone to rip off the Band-Aid and tell you the truth, there's the Band-Aid. We just ripped it off for you. To Stephen A. Smith, to everybody else, I do think that Stephen A., when he's actually locked in and making a take, I think he can be fine. It's the bullshit like this that drives people away. It's why a lot of you come in here. Man, it blows my mind that a reporter can take a shot. It's the non-political aside. It is the Trumpism issue with the media. Now, she doesn't do clearly half the shit that he does. He just runs out there and just says whatever in the hell he wants to. But when a sitting figure claps back at a stupid journalist for making and asking a stupid question, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? They are human just like you, and they don't want to lose at all. Kim Mulkey wants to be in the Final Four today. I'm sure that Kim Mulkey wants to be in the Final Four. But we must protect the journalists. They're doing a great job. No, bro. Come in there and ask better questions. Hey, you've underachieved. Well, you don't know what it's like to be in my chair because I'm better at what I do than what you do. That is a fact. You know, I had a reporter this week. This is a fact. This is, speaking of facts, I had a reporter on the local beat this week give me a call. I was on the way to the doctor's appointment, by the way. Hey, can you run through LSU's depth chart with me? Had no clue. Zero clue. Nevertheless. All right. We got a couple of super chats in here. Jackie Harris with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jackie. Says portal talk is much needed. We can get to some of that tonight, Jackie, when we get to the Blaine Bradford thing. I can kind of lump that whole recruiting update in there. He says, can we get a deep dive on what to expect for the upcoming portal for LSU? A deep dive, we can get to that tomorrow. Or Wednesday. Excuse me. Let me just say Wednesday. Give me a couple days. I will tell you this, Jackie. As of right now, I would say DT that they 100% will go after him. Boy, we're going to talk about safety a lot tonight. You have my word. We'll do that on Wednesday. We'll do that on Wednesday, Jackie. He says this team needs 3 or 4 players away, or there are 3 or 4 players away, in my opinion. I think they're more than that, Jackie. I think they're more than that. But I get labeled a hater. I get labeled a too negative. Like somebody sent me a thing on Twitter this week. Like LSU put out a video this from Friday of them lifting and dancing. And they're like, oh, the leadership is there. Dancing in a video in 2019 in the White House after you won a natty is much different. That team could do whatever they wanted because they won. You're coming off an 8-4 season. I came out here the day before that video was posted and said, hey, guys, on Thursday night, hey, bro, they're horsing around out there. The next day they post a video of them horsing around. And nobody – here's the crazy thing. Nobody comes in here from the Thursday video that we posted of me saying, hey, man, offensive – we did a whole spring report from Thursday. They're horsing around. Personally, it's of my opinion, I don't like that. I don't like the horsing around. Then they post a video of them horsing around, right? That exactly what happened on Thursday. You know what never happens in these comments ever? Not once. Nobody's bro. You think the Ohio State shirt is coincidental? You think that me saying they're horsing around and then the video of them horsing around in the weight room is incidental? It's not incidental. It's not by accident. Oh, we gonna get to it. We'll get to Blaine Bradford as well. All right, so let me do this. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, let's do this. Let's do this. I know a lot of you want to get to the Blaine Bradford stuff. I'll just go ahead and lead off with that. We'll get to the baseball talk here at the end. We'll get to women's basketball and then go and ask some questions, read your comments, and then we'll get out of here. So let me get to a quick break. We'll break down the recruiting issue that was today with Blaine Bradford committing to Ohio State. Do us a favor during the break. Hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. you're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, and wherever you listen to podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll come right back. Blame Bradford to Ohio State. We talk about it next. Stay with us. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. All right, let's get moving here. But P. Scott, Jackie, I see you. We're going to get to this in just a moment. I'm going to answer yours too in more detail when we get to the recruiting update. As well, we will do a deep dive of what up positions in the portal if they present themselves that I think that we get that LSU needs to go after. We'll do a deep dive on that on Wednesday. You have my word. P. Scott with a $5 super chat that leads us off with our segment here was Jake Olson, the safeties coach, recruiting Jacob Bradford because what is going on in that position room. So, in case you missed it, borderline 5-star, so 4-star, but borderline 5-star safety, the number 2 recruit in the state of Louisiana in the 2026 class, so this year's recruiting class, Blaine Bradford announced today that he is going to be taking his talents for the time being to Ohio State, a top 50 player inside the country nationally, the number 2 player at the position, and the number 2 player in the state of Louisiana. The biggest recruit in the state of Louisiana, in my humble opinion, based off of your needs. Let's talk on that. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I came out here and I said, listen, we had talked about recruiting. Please go find the shows if you want to. It was a discussion that we had. That I said that I can make the argument that Aiden Hall and Blaine Bradford were more important in this cycle's recruiting class based off of the position of need that you had at the current moment when it came to safety. Now, Jake Olson is always recruiting his position. I do not believe, for what it's worth, and I think it would be a falsehood to believe, for what it's worth, that he was the only one responsible for this high level of a recruitment. But it is going to always fall on the position coach from a recruiting standpoint and from an overall developmental standpoint. There is nothing, and Blaine Bradford admitted this in his statement today, that they develop, meaning Ohio State, and they win a lot of games. I want to be a part of that. Well, they're doing it better than you. By the way, they're doing something a little bit better than you too from an NIL perspective. Their foundation is built better than yours at the current moment. I know what you're going to say out of the jump, and we need to hit this objection right out of the jump. Blake, it is March 31st, 2025, and Blaine Bradford does not sign with a school until December, early December. You were right. You held on to Bryce Underwood until damn near the finish line, and then it happened. Anything and everything is going to happen. You have not played a season yet. I think the biggest lie in the country when it comes to recruiting is that wins and losses during the season don't affect things. It 1,000% affects things. DK Moore was here when you got blasted by Alabama. So was Bryce Underwood. How do you think that conversation went on Sunday when they got home? Because I will confirm that conversation happened. But Blaine Bradford, because of the position of safety and how bad that you have been there, I could make the argument will be the biggest miss if you do not go and get him in this or flip him, whatever you want to call him, get him recommitted to some people were trying to say, at least on our board today. Whatever you want to call it. When December comes, he's got to be signed on that LSU dotted line. You know that, and I know that. It's a player you cannot miss. Guys, you have been god-awful the last 2 years at safety. Now, Blake Baker came out and stated that no one was harder on Deshaun Spears last year than I was, and I still think that you're okay there. You got some developmental pieces with Joel Rogers, and I do think Deshaun Spears has gotten a lot better from year one to year two. I'm not saying that you're lost there now and you can't be better this upcoming season because, ironically, as much as you need bodies and really good players in that position, I do feel like that you're going to be better at that position this year because Sage Ryan and Major Burns have left out of the building. The problem is with the excuse of, well, we have to flip him in December. Guys, that is an excuse. That is an excuse. You cannot, you should not, and you should be in a place where you will not allow that to happen. You will get pissed off when Saban would come off in here and break you off a new one and take players that he wanted. You hated it. You cannot allow top 5 talent from your own state to leave the state. You're in a unique situation. You are the only Power 5 school in the country or in your state, and it gives you a massive advantage that you don't have or most states don't have. Like Texas has to go up against A&M, and now SMU is in the ACC. So many different obstacles. Texas, Georgia. Everybody in the Southeast damn near has another Power 4 school that's inside of their own state. So the recruiting comes a little bit more differently. Even Georgia Tech, flipping a 5-star offensive lineman. That kid would have never gone to Georgia Tech before. But he's close to home, and it's a P4 school, and it's in the ACC, and the kid will get paid. It's an excuse. Now, you got a long way to go. And I don't think that you need to be freaking out. I don't think you need to be freaking out that the kid doesn't want to go to the school that you want him to go to. But you need him to be here. You can't lose Hall. You can't lose the other safety that you have committed. That would be a travesty. But the God's honest truth is, and I know that Derek Williams got hurt this past year for Texas. You need to recruit that position better. It has been a travesty at that position. Again, I still think Deshaun Spears will be a good player for LSU. You got to take the time and let him develop. You can't lose the number 2 player in your state. And that is a fact. So whether LSU is able to come back and flip him and go back and get him remains to be seen. They very well, very much can do it. I don't think anybody will doubt that LSU will be able to do it. The kid's 10 minutes from your campus and you lost him. The last time that you were involved in a situation like this, one school said that we're not letting him leave no matter what it takes, and Bryce Underwood flipped. Now, I don't know if you go to that extreme, but here's what I know for an outright fact. What I know for an outright fact is that Ryan Day, I want to be careful in how I say this, and others around Ryan Day, and I'm not even talking about on-field coaches, but there were people in certain positions and in certain places that identified Blaine Bradford and wouldn't take no for an answer. Because the truth is that they out-recruited you before NIL even became a question, just from a relationship standpoint. That cannot happen. The kid's 10 minutes from you. And before any excuse flies, well, we don't really know if we like him as a player. Get out of my face with that. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear any excuses, because all it is that will come out of all this is excuse making. Well, we got until December, or maybe they didn't like him, or whatever the excuse is. All of it's BS. Because you needed him, and you do need him, and you do need safety help. It's not because there's nobody in here right now. No one in this show right now. No one who would think that Major Burns and Sage Ryan played any quality or quantity of what level of snaps that they should have had at LSU. No disrespect to Major Burns or Sage Ryan. Zero disrespect. I'm not trying to throw shade. They're not good enough to play here. You know that, and I know that. Based off of the legacy and who you are. But I tell you one damn thing. Of all the positions that you miss out on, lastly, here's the good news. Oh, here goes Blake being negative again. Here's the good news. The good news is that this massively, from a PR standpoint, puts LSU into overdrive. I do not believe at the current moment that Jake Olson has shown you, since the time that he has started until right now, that his job is not up for grabs. I don't think that exists. I think that everybody should be in question because of how bad that room was a year ago and the level of recruiting. Guys, Jake Olson didn't bring in any safeties. He's got one kid committed now, but I mean, guys, if you follow recruiting heavily enough, you know that Aiden Hall that's a Frank Wilson deal. I mean, let's just call a spade here. And I like Jake. I like him. I just don't know if, you got to show some stuff. This isn't a place to learn. It isn't a place to learn. You can't be a first-time position coach without the stability around him. You didn't have stability. You don't have stability. That stability being is that you had to go on a massive rebuild defensively. Jake Olson in the safety room's got to have a big year. Actually, no, they got to have a massive year. There's got to be massive turnaround, and we have to see it. We have to see it. That sucks, man. The news sucks. It comes the day before April Fool's, and you're like, hey, man, is this like an early April Fool's joke, No, it's not. No, it's not. You can get him, but to me, it's an excuse. Saying, everything flip-flops. Guys, not everything flip-flops. How many kids do you have committed at the current moment? How many of them flipped? You had 75% of kids that stayed with you 2 years ago. This year you had last year you had 75%. The year before you had 85%. Because it's averaging out around an 80% for you. Now, countrywide, it doesn't go like that. It just doesn't. The numbers, go look at it yourself. Go to the top 50. I'll spare it for you. Go to the top 32 recruits. Unless of weird situations Look and see how many times these kids flip. It does not exist. Not like that. Not normally. It doesn't. You might have a handful, maybe 2 or 3 here or there that are high profile, and it's like, oh, man, it happens to us. It's happening everywhere. It's not happening everywhere. Not like that. Not from a large-scale situation, it's not. If 5 kids leave, you had 30 committed, okay. All right. You got to make sure that you're locking down the top ones in there that people are trying to flip from you. That is the job. I would tell you this. LSU's out this week for football. And I don't think that this commitment, for what it's worth, and the day that it fell on, I don't think that it's the timing of it, I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's right on time if you're Ohio State. What's LSU's reaction? The football team is out. They had a vacation. They're out this week. There's nothing going on. Spring break or whatever it is. It's the perfect time to strike. Maybe one day we'll have an honest conversation where I don't burn so many bridges that it burns the house down. Along with it. But just understand this. This did not, for once. And this did not have anything to do with NIL at the current moment. They beat you on the relationship part. The easiest part to do these days, they beat you on it. I heard from Ryan Day more than anybody else at LSU. That is not a good look. So whether you talk about flip-flopping or not, the kid's father came out on social media and said he talked to Ryan Day more than anybody at LSU. That's not, I mean, what else are we supposed to bring up there? That's not my words. It's his words publicly. So flip-flop, don't flip-flop. I mean, some of you would think that it's flip-flopping so much that you need beach sandals. God's honest truth is the dad's kid came out on Twitter and said Ryan Day, the head coach of Ohio State, had more conversations with my son than anybody. Guys, that is it. That's the point. That's why they're the reigning national champions. Because the dude just won a natty and he don't give a shit. He's recruiting his ass off. Hey, bro, we're Ohio State. I'm going to recruit my ass off. The money's the money. We'll figure out the money. Let's go recruit our asses off. Guys, you got to recruit at an elite level to win games. That is a bona fide fact. Bona fide fact. So, the Blaine Bradford ordeal. It is what it is. Now, we were brought up by Jackie, or Jackie brought this up. So, Jackie, I'm going to answer, like I've said, I'll answer your question more on Wednesday. So let's bring this up. There are positions, because he asked about what are some positions that you need going into the spring portal period. I think that there are 4 positions that I would take somebody at right now, and I would not blink an eye. We just got done talking about safety. I think that you need a safety. I don't believe Jordan Gilbert. If somebody is better, guys, Jordan, like, come on. I would not replace Deshaun Spears at all. I would encourage him and bring him more to the forefront with the first team. I think you need a safety. I don't know if DeMarcus Cooley is ready. And I don't know if it's fair to ask him to be ready. See, when we grab these portal players, sometimes it's like, brother, you got to start and you got to have a high put out now. I don't know about all that. I go get a safety. You need somebody that can come down in the box and tackle. I know that Blake Baker had talked about Toviano's did a good job. He's kind of settling in. I have not seen that. For what it's worth, I don't know what he's talking about because I've been out to 3 full-time practices and he clearly sees more than me. I have not seen it. He's made some open field tackles. He's made some good plays. He's also jumping the route before the receiver makes a break, which makes me believe that he knows the play's coming. and what the guy's going to run, I go get a safety. The second thing, and the thing that we talked about the most, I would go get an interior defensive tackle. I think this team could use another interior defensive tackle. I don't think that Don McKinley and I don't think Ahmad Bro right now, the two young, talented sophomores have shown me enough that I feel like that all three of them with Sadir Mitchell, Don McKinley, and Ahmad Bro can hold that thing down. Because I don't feel confident about the return of Jacoby and Guillory in this sense. Achilles for a big man is not necessarily a great thing to rebound from. We saw him at practice. He still has kind of a little bit of a limp to him. Brian Kelly even acknowledged in his press conference a couple of weeks ago about Jacoby and Guillory that, well, he was kind of behind the timetable, about a month ago. And the last 2 weeks, he kind of seems like he's back on normal track. There's no way in a physical rehab that you've made up that much ground in 2 weeks. It's physically impossible. Guys, you don't heal from a surgery like that one in 2 weeks like that. You need depth. You need guys that can play because, quite frankly, if you lose another game in the SEC and you're giving up 250-plus yards on the ground, I might lose my mind. If Ahmad Bro, Don McKinley, Sadir Mitchell want to leave because there's a very talented defensive tackle in the portal, guys, by all means, okay, whatever. But God bless America, you got to go get depth there at minimum. Even if it's not a top shelf player, you got to go get some depth. You're not ready there. You're not ready. And they have done very well against your interior offensive line. The problem is that would be the next position that I think you got to go get. Listen, man, no way. This interior O-line's getting cooked right now. There is nothing that they have shown me that I feel as if that would give me confidence or gives me confidence going into Clemson. Nothing. I do think DJ Chester has been better for what it's worth. They got to have a massive offseason. All of those guards, all of those centers, everybody. I don't know if one of those big-time freshmen like Carius Kern, who they got at left tackle, what in the good God name? I don't think he's a guard, and we have him at tackle, left tackle at that. Listen, man, maybe one of those young bucks can come in here and start now. It would not surprise me if by the start or by midway through the season that one of them, if not both of them, are starting. I don't know if you go and get another offensive lineman because maybe you have a lot of faith in them. You put a lot of faith in on a freshman if you don't do that. Last but not least, the fourth position, they're not going to do this. And for what it's worth, I know I get a lot of pushback from you. Well, Blake, we have Caden Durham. Well, Blake, we have Harlan Berry. Well, Blake, we have Caleb Jackson. I would go after a power back or a guy that really runs violently inside the tackles. Caden Durham is going to be a really good running back. I don't know. Personally, I want a back that you just line up and you can give him the ball to and he'll get you 4 yards by putting his head down and just running people flat over. Maybe that can be Caleb Jackson. I hope it can be for what it's worth. But I would definitely take a look at it. And you go from there. The only other conversation I think that you could have here, Jackie, would be quarterback. Because what is Colin Hurley's status? You didn't bring in a freshman quarterback. Do you want to bring in a third scholarship quarterback? God forbid Colin Hurley, knock on wood, and God bless him, doesn't return. That would be probably the only other one. All right. Chase Abear with a $2 super chat says, this falls on Brian Kelly. Why is he not all in? Chase, I wish I can answer your question. It just is a really, really, really bad look for everybody involved when you are in a situation where the kid's father goes to Twitter and comes out and says that Ryan Day talked to my son more than anybody in this recruiting process. It's not a good look for anybody. I mean, I don't know what else you say to that. Like, I'm trying. You sent in a super chat. I'm trying to think of what to say. I don't know. What is my response to that? Guys, it cannot happen. A lot of you will say pump the brakes, and as I've mentioned, and want to please God, I hope, guys, let's go up to prayer. Dear Lord, I pray that my words that were said here tonight are taken in the context that will be thought of as that Blake Ruffino understands that there's no reason whatsoever that since Blaine Bradford has committed that we should overreact right now until National Signing Day. However, we live in the present world. And in that present world, we have to acknowledge that the PR hit that you take with the number 2 recruit in your state is what it is, especially with the statements coming behind it. You know that, and I know that. All right. So, yeah. Look who it is. It's James. It's James. I feel like James is I'm pretty sure it's a bot account for one of the haters. James, who's freaking out? James, I'd love for you to come on. Actually, you know what, James? Why don't you do your own show? And in that show, talk about how it's not a bad look. If you don't believe that it's not a bad look right now, you are a idiot. That's why I don't like going to the comments sometimes. Let me get to a quick break. We break down the baseball series next. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
We're back.
All right. Christian Burris, who said Tanner Reeves, who got an argument with me about Tanner Reeves last week, does not also like my decision or thought on this. He said it isn't a PR hit that Blaine Bradford went to and committed to Ohio State. No one cares. You care. You're in here listening to me talk about it. You will care when LSU at safety again this year, because they have not recruited that position well enough that they can't make a tackle on a critical rundown. You will care because your team loses. And yet you're saying that recruiting, the biggest process of what you do for college athletics, that you don't care. But you come to a show to listen to me talk about the thing that you think that you don't care about. He also says the kid chose a team that just won a national title. And what I am telling you is that if you want to go and play for a national title, guess what you did the last time that you won one? Justin Jefferson, where did he go to? Where is he from? Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, your entire offensive line besides Austin Deculus, who, by the way, is from Mamu. Wait, where is the highest paid corner in the country from again? In the NFL right now? That's Derek Stingley, right? Where's he from? The safety that was a part of that, Grant Delpit. Well, he grew up in Texas, but wait, where's he from? Oh, he's from Louisiana. Oh, okay. Patrick Queen, who's had a really good, I think, fairly, really good NFL career. Where is he from? Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's also a part of that. Where is he from? 2007, your starting safeties. Do you know where both of them were from? I'm asking a question. Does anybody know where they were from? Because we all know where they were from. You cannot lose a top kid in your state. It is a fact. I come out here and say that, hey, listen, it's not even close to being over yet. Blake, stop freaking out. Stop freaking out. Tanner Reeves, by the way, the guy that you said that you argued with me last week, he's hitting 400. He had more home runs this weekend, or this week, excuse me, or let me not even, the last 2 weeks than Brazzy's had in his career here. Boy, y'all like to argue. Stephen Young says, Blake, so we are going 8-4 in football again. Thanks for the black pill. I did not say that. How does me talking about recruiting say that we're going that 8-4 this year? It's not what I said. All right. So we were unable to do post games this week for the Friday and Saturday games 2 and games 3, because, well, the games, quite frankly, well, they were too damn late. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not doing a show that early in the morning. Maybe we could have gotten to one. But the weather in Oklahoma, where you're going this weekend, is not too favorable, so we might have to get to those. Not missing another weekend. But we talked about the game on Friday. Look, just to very quickly recap the game on Friday in this series recap of this. You won that game 8-6. Cade Anderson was not good at all. We know that. All of us talked about it. We made the decision, look, the kids can have a bad start. It is what it is. Good on them. It's going to happen in college baseball. Sucks that it happened. He's got to go up early a day. He normally starts on Fridays. He's going up another day from the rest that he has. Now he'll get it back on Friday. Let's see how he responds. And, well, if he gets rocked around by Oklahoma this week, then maybe there might be a talking point there. But as of right now, Cade Anderson just did not have a good day in game 1 versus Mississippi State. But the good thing about that was the guy that came behind him after that 5 innings with Connor Bench and Cade Anderson combined is that you had Zach Cowan that came in, and he gave you 4 innings pitched. 1 hit. 1 hit in 4 innings pitched. He gave up no runs while having 7 strikeouts, and here's the Shablewski. He had no walks. You got rocked early and often. And it is of my feeling for a Friday night, you were going up against a team that had nothing to lose. They throw Evan Sierra, who they probably should have kept in the game. And quite frankly, Lamonis probably mismanaged the situation, which is probably going to get him fired. But Evan Sierra, who threw against you a year ago and shoved against you, and was doing it again here, and then we didn't see him for the rest of the weekend. How dumb is that? But you were able to respond by a massive fifth inning, and you absolutely exploded, and you went 8-6. All in all, listen, you went up against a team who was trying to come out and swing for the bleachers. They did literally swing for the bleachers, and they connected on you early. But you were able to compose yourselves against what I still think is a talented team in Mississippi State. Maybe not a good team, but a talented team. And take the win on Friday. If you want my Friday thoughts, go to the post game from the other night. Friday is the game that we did not talk about at all. And one kid did respond, and that's Anthony Ianson. You know, a week ago today, we were talking about, look, man, in the 3 Power 4 starts that Anthony has had, he's had an 8.8+ ERA. He's been touched a lot. Man, he's got to finally come into a situation, late or not, when the game starts, he's got to deliver for you. And my man who grew up on the West Coast might be a little bit dialed into the West Coast vibes when a game starts at 9 o'clock. Anthony Ianson absolutely shoved. No runs, 5 innings pitched, and 12 Ks. Absolutely freaking fantastic. In the 5 innings, only allowed 5 hits, no earned runs. 0. Even if he would have allowed 1, even if he would have allowed 2, now the game would have been tied, and you're going up against arguably, and you'll probably see the SEC's best ace this weekend in Oklahoma. We'll get to that later. Arguably the best arm, one of the best arms in Pico Khan, Anthony Ianson, with everything behind him. And everybody saying, listen, man, myself included, which I was wrong in, myself included, this has got to be a pitching performance because you're not going to get a lot off of Pico Khan. The 5 innings pitched, only allowing 3 walks in 5 innings with 12 massive strikeouts, the kid absolutely delivered. He showed what everybody knew that he could have. He was down low in the zone. He placed the ball very well. I know of an MLB scout that was at the game and said, listen, I've seen this kid in the fall. I saw him in San Diego, and that was the best performance that I've ever seen him have. The kid was electric and on point. It's what you needed to win this series or to solidify the win the series, but it helped you in the sweep because, well, then Casey Evans could come in and damn near replicate exactly what just happened. Casey Evans, 4 innings pitched, only allowed 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Guys, I will tell you, if that is the level of performance that you will get from Cade Anderson, who I still think will be on, I'm not going to allow one bad start to dictate my overall thoughts on him, considering how good and solid he's been all year. If Anthony Ianson can throw strikes and be able to deliver in those crunch time situations, guys, against good hitters, Ace Reese, Hunter Hines, because they're very good hitters. They're SEC quality hitters, dangerous hitters that you're getting out there. And it's not like they're 8 and 9 guys and Cup and Powell were bad all weekend at all either. They were SEC quality as well. And you deliver. Guys, you'll be tough to beat. I don't know if you saw this, but last week on Bet Online, LSU was plus 750 to win a national title. Tennessee was plus 450. After this weekend, LSU ties Tennessee with the plus 450 odds to win a natty. What do I think that they saw there? And betting numbers don't really mean anything. They'll fluctuate every week. You saw a staff that on a 2-game span, if you're going to get what we think that you can get from Cade Anderson, and you got Zach Cowan coming out of the bullpen, or it being Evans, and if Anthony Ianson maybe not replicate completely what he did against Mississippi State, allowing no runs in 5 innings pitched, but if he's moderately that, you're going to be one of the tougher teams in the country to beat, and that is the truth. Now, Sunday, you came out guns blazing, and we'll talk about that next. Because you won that game on Friday 2-1. Old school style of baseball, especially for college baseball. LSU in a Jay Johnson era won a game 2-1, coming off a Hernandez home run and coming off of a Ethan Fry home run. That's how you win it. Pitching and defense got you one. And I don't think a lot of us going into the weekend would have thought that that would be the case. But Pico Khan, the Friday night starter, or the lead ace for Mississippi State, guys, that's one of the best arms that you're going to see all year. Now, if you don't get that pitching performance, you're not winning that game. You're not getting the sweep. Good on LSU. Absolutely electric this weekend. Game 3. Look, what do we say about Game 3? You won 17-8. You scored 8 runs in the first inning, and then 9 runs from innings 2 through 9. You just absolutely obliterated the focus and mentality of Mississippi State on Sunday. Guys, you have a team that does not want to get swept, but their back's up against the wall late night on Saturday. And Jay was asked in his postgame, like, hey, listen, you won a game 8-6, so it's not like you didn't hit the ball, but look, you're coming off a game that was 2-1, and you won on Saturday against a really good pitcher. But Sunday at 9 o'clock when you started, you absolutely obliterated the baseball. Why? He goes, well, for 3 whole hours in a delay, all we did is throw BP to Derek Curiel, Jared Jones, Danny Dickinson, Stephen Milam. And you know what? You look at them all. Curiel went 5 of 12 on the weekend. 3 walks, 2 RBIs. Jared Jones did not have productive Thursday or Friday night games. But on Sunday, he gets you 3 hits. He goes 3 for 12 with 3 RBIs and a home run into deep center. Danny Dickinson absolutely exploded this weekend with a home run, going 5 of 13, 6 RBIs along with the home run. Oh, and he's pushing the ball to the other opposite side of the field, and he's damaging teams all over the place. Oh, and if the third baseman plays too far back, he's going to hurt him. Danny Dickinson, welcome to the SEC moment. I think the kid can play here, says hello. And then Stephen Milam, who didn't have a necessarily productive or fantastic weekend, goes 2 for 11. But he has 4 RBIs. The 2 hits that he had completely broke the game open for you on Thursday and Sunday. You're just a really good team, man. And you're 7-2 in conference play. You go into Oklahoma this weekend. You face a very, very tough opponent in Oklahoma. And I understand that they're coming off a weekend series loss to Alabama. But, man, you take 2 of 3 again, and it's going to be very tough to do that. Oklahoma presents its own bit of challenges that will be very difficult to overcome. And listen, you're going to have to battle with weather again this weekend too. But, man, you're in the driver's seat right now. It was a massive way for you to respond. I don't care if it's Missouri. I don't care if it's Mississippi State. Guys, if you would have gone into the weekend and told me, or going into the year and you told me, hey, Blake, you're going to sweep 2 of the first 3 series that you take, my God's honest thought would have been, well, damn, you start off by sweeping Missouri and you start off by sweeping Texas. Because I did think that Mississippi State had a solid team this year. And I still think they have a lot of talent. I think Chris Lemonis is going to be gone at the end of the year. But you did exactly what you needed to do. Take a step up this weekend and level of play with Oklahoma. Speed all over the place. Speed, and more speed. Maybe not all the power in the world, but they got speed. and they might be the most athletic overall athleticism. They're definitely going to be the most athletic team that you see all year. So you better buckle it up. It's going to be a fun ride, but an absolutely fantastic weekend for LSU. Pitching came through. Timely hitting came through. When you needed to respond, you did. Are there instances like, do I think that you lost focus on Saturday at 1:30 a.m.? Yeah, I do. I think it's late and a pitching staff couldn't throw strikes at 1:30 in the morning. All right. Well, you hit with shit ton, and you did exactly what you needed to do. So overall, fantastic performance there. All right. Let's get to a couple of these. It would absolutely suck, says Steven, to be Florida right now. Oh, no doubt. No doubt, man. No doubt. Yeah. Christian said, what did Tanner Reeves do this weekend? Well, first off, I said the week, and he had 2 home runs this week. Or the last 10 days is what I said. He's had 2 home runs the last 10 days. He's hitting 400. You're right. Hey, Christian, you know what? You're right. You're right. Jay's putting him out there for no reason at all. Jay's an asshole. That's why he set Ashton Larson and put in Chris Stanfield, who Chris Stanfield had a 3-hit performance on Saturday. He's putting who he believes to be the better player in situations. Bro, your Tanner Reeves take is god-awful. Does he need to get better at third base? He made a ridiculous play at third base on Saturday night. What are we talking about? That's got to be one of the gnarliest, dumbest situations that I've seen people put themselves in. Why is Tanner Reeves starting over Michael Braswell? Bro, are we serious? Brassy had a good weekend too, and I'm not saying he didn't, but to say that he, like, what has he done? Brother, are we, come on, bro. Bro, some of y'all don't know baseball, and it shows. Rick says, Blake, who's responsible for LSU schedule at Texas and at Oklahoma? People got mad at me, Rick. Go look at it on the SEC Unfiltered. People are mad at me about that one because I said it was dog shit. But the SEC, because they got catered to, like they always do. A. McNabb says, Milam struck out a lot this weekend. He did, which isn't like him, but by no means am I complaining. He's doing just fine. Well, the 2 hits that he had drove in 4 runs. Right? When he needed to, he delivered. Jesse O'Neill says, do you believe Fry has finally started to coming into his potential? Yeah, and listen, for what it's worth on that too, I thought in the beginning of the season, I'm like, look, man, you better pick it up. John Pearson, Kate Aaron Beatty, you don't pick it up, you're going to have problems. And he has. And it's why he started game 3 against a righty, by the way. Ethan Fry he's forcing Jay to just put him out there every weekend. So yeah. All right, last one. We're getting out of here. Corey Rogers said, I feel like BK has done a good enough job as far as securing Louisiana kids, but the fan base has to get absolutely perfect results or they're bitching and moaning. Go figure. How about this? You can't lose top defenders in your state. You're struggling on defense and you lose top defenders. Corey, answer me this. Hold on. Corey, what has been the positions of issues for you defensively? Can name them inside the chat right now. What have been the 2 position groups defensively that you've massively struggled at? And before I'll give you the answer, but one of them is safety. Go ahead and put it in the chat so I can bring it up here. Guess what you can't do in high school recruiting when a kid is 10 miles away from you? Guess what you cannot do? Bro, y'all will justify anything. I'm just going to tell you like it is. That can't happen. Bro, Eric Newman, interior defensive line and safety. You got Rich Anderson. You lost Blaine Bradford for the time being. He said you weren't bitching him when we secured Pickett. Pickett's not a safety. Brother, do you even know what position he plays? He's not a safety. I don't give a damn if he's the number one safety. Sage Ryan proved me that a lot that matters not. It actually doesn't matter. But so what about Colin Simmons? Players that have come to LSU that have been top recruits. What about Derek Stingley? So you make the argument that, well, you're not bitching at DJ Pickett's here, who doesn't play safety, by the way, and then you're thinking that he's going to hit, and you go, well, guess what? He might be a flop like Sage Ryan. You can't have it both ways to make your argument. Do you think he can play or not? Because if you think he can play and you not getting him to commit is a big deal. I got to be honest with you guys. There's been a lot. I love you all to death. You give me the ability to do this. From a lot of you, there's been a lot of purple and gold glasses that has got to start coming off. Guys, you went 8-4. You lost the top defender at safety that you massively need. Bro, what? And y'all, and again, let me reiterate. Let me just reiterate here. It is not over. By a long shot, it is not over. When this gets clipped and somebody gets mad on social media, it is not over. But you can't have your cake and eat it too with this argument. Sage Ryan proved me that. Bro, what? And then you're saying, well, DJ Pickett. Brother, he plays corner. You can't lose a Derek Williams. Bro, some of you are in here asking me about where's Jacoby Matthews these days because you think that this kid can come in here and save your life, which maybe he could have. Brother, make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. James, who from his burner account says we lost Landon Collins. How did that work out for you? Oh, by the way, did you get other top defenders in your state? Yes, you did. It's insane, man. It's insane. Anyway. All right, we'll see you tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.